again, Zach. Oh, I'm going to turn the audio to the room on.
All right, we're ready to go live when you are ready.
All right, let's go ahead and go.
Well, I'd like to welcome everyone and call the July 8th, 2020 meeting to order. Carla, do we have a quorum? Okay. First item on the agenda would be the minutes of June 10th. Well, I'd like to welcome everyone and call the July 8th.
The roll call has been noted, and we do have a quorum.
This is Phil Jenkins. I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second by Mayor Center.
Motion is second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Chairman has no reports. Financial report, Debbie.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I have first a proposed budget revision that we need to pass before I go on to the financial report. So I am proposing to increase our audit line item from $16,000 to $23,100, and we will take that out of the printing and reproduction line item. So that will go from $35,000 to $27,900. And this is because in this past fiscal year, we have actually we haven't gone through, but we have been invoiced for 3 different audits. So the first one, and I believe we probably got it in July of this fiscal year, was our 2018 MACOG fiscal year audit. So that rolled into the invoice for that rolled into this year. Then MACOG got audited in March, and so we received bills for that in May of this year. And then also the St. Joseph River Basin Commission, who we usually make the payments for them and they reimburse us, they had their audit, I believe it was May. And so we just got the bill in June, so that will show up on the next, the June report. But if we don't make the revision, then we would not have enough money in that line item. So I would like to propose that budget revision and would like to ask for your approval.
Mayor Stutzman with motion to approve.
Commissioner Groiner, second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed,
Okay.
same sign. Motion carried.
All right, moving on to the May financial report. Our total disbursements for the month of May was $273,966.48. Our total expenses, fiscal year to date expenses through the month of May was $5,334,999.13. It's almost 75% of our total budget. And our cash balance at the end of May was $1,979,792.17. Does anybody have any questions? And if not, I'd like to ask for a board approval for the May financial report.
Councilman Root, move for approval.
Mayor Robertson, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Hey, Debbie, this is Phil Jenkins. On the list of disbursements this month, the pictometry, was a negative entry and then a positive entry for net zero. Can you explain that?
Sure. My coworker originally had cut the check for that, but with the amount being so large, we ended up billing NDOT for the amount and started the process of getting the money reimbursed first. So at that time, she had voided that check so that we could pay it a little bit later to have the money in to do that.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If we have a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Secretary report. Mayor Center.
June administrative modifications. Want to speak to that?
Yeah, the June administrative modifications, these are minor corrections that are made to the Transportation Improvement Program. They are included in your packet and listed online. Anything that was done in June by staff, you have for your reference. That is all that we have related to the June administrative modifications.
Any old business, James?
There is no old business at this time.
New business?
New business, Ryan DeLine will be presenting some amendments from the Fort Wayne district. Ryan?
Yes, good morning. We have one resolution today with 4 line items. It's resolution 2820. This is for a project that was awarded during the local tracks. And the first line item A is for the amendment of the fiscal year, changing fiscal year and amount of funding for the project. Line item B through D are actually all bridges. B is Sunnyside over Norfolk Southern Railroad, and that is for PE. Item C is Bridge 151, Concord Mall Drive over the Yellow Creek, and then item D is Sunnyside over the Yellow Creek. Again, this is adding, breaking out the bridges so that the PE can be done on each bridge individually. If there are no questions in regard to Resolution 2820, and I'd ask for your approval.
So moved. This is Susie.
Second, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on, staff update. Jeremiah?
Good morning, everyone. My first staff update concerns the Interurban Trolley Yellow Line. This past Monday, July 6th, Transpo finally returned to the regular weekday schedule, which allowed us to have the Yellow Line resume its regular weekday schedule, only running between downtown Mishawaka and downtown Elkhart. For the past 3 months, while Transpo was running a Saturday schedule, we were actually running service all the way, as this image shows, along Transpo Route 9 into downtown South Bend to supplement Transpo. And I just want to remind everyone that this service expansion of the Interurban Trolley, because of the way the schedule works, since we share the Yellow Line and we're sharing Transpo Route 9, had resulted in 0 additional hours for the trolley, but it allowed the region to maintain half-hourly service on this vital corridor between South Bend, Mishawaka, and Elkhart. But as of Monday, that has ended since Transpo's returned to a regular weekday schedule. Next slide, Ryan. And then my next slide, I just wanted to share with everyone just how ridership on the trolley's gone. This is weekday ridership since the first week of March, pretty much before COVID was on anyone's radar, as something that would require. And basically what the ridership shows is we were down basically 47% at the height of the lockdown time in April and then early May. And then at this point, we're down about 12%. There's some weekly variance. Last week was a little lower because we only ran 5 service days since we didn't run on Saturday, July 4th, but we're still down about 12%. But overall, trolley ridership has been recovering from our depths of being down 47% at the height of the lockdowns in Elkhart County. Next slide. And then finally, I just wanted to give everyone an update that as of last week, these signs have been posted on all trolleys, with the Elkhart County Health Department now requiring face coverings of any person on public transportation, which includes the trolley. In addition, we are continuing on the trolley to waive fares and require rear door boarding to encourage social distancing, to try and keep everyone, do our best to keep everyone safe. And in addition, I just want to remind everyone that we're still waiving fares, and with ridership down, but in terms of revenue, that will not be an issue due to the large amount of funds that the Interurban Trolley has received from the Federal CARES Act. So that's not going to, that revenue has been fully replaced by CARES Act money for running the trolley fare free and the various extra cleaning and PPE that we've done for the trolley. In addition, we are planning a mask drive next week using some to distribute reusable masks to trolley riders at the Elkhart Transfer Center, and we're still looking at locations in Goshen. And I was just wondering, James, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, just to add on to that, there are a few additional items that we have done to try and provide a safe environment for our riders as well as the drivers of the vehicle. So as Jeremiah already mentioned, many months ago, we kind of locked the front doors and have had rear door boarding of the vehicles. This kind of limits the interaction with drivers so that drivers potentially have less exposure to our riders on a regular basis, as well as then we have signed a contract with Cintas to have them install hand sanitizers inside all of our vehicles. In the trolley, those will be located at that back door. If and when we open that front door and start collecting fares again, I'm sure we would install another hand sanitizer up there as well. And then as Jeremiah mentioned, now that Elkhart County has a public health order regarding the face coverings and masks, we did purchase last week 4,000 reusable masks, and we will be looking at hopefully next week having an opportunity where riders can get masks at our Elkhart Downtown Transfer Center, as well as then a location in Goshen. We'd be more than happy to work with the cities on that. If anyone has additional reusable masks or access to additional reusable masks, we'd be more than happy to do multiple kind of days of distributing these masks to help get them out there. And anybody who would want to help participate, we'd welcome that kind of participation. So on top of that, we're doing regular environmental cleanings of the vehicle. We've had Cintas out to do environmental cleanings, and then drivers are doing regular cleanings of the vehicles and then nightly kind of normal cleanings as well. So just trying to do our part to make sure that we're providing the kind of safest potential option for riding the vehicles. So I didn't know if anyone had any questions regarding that. Be happy to answer any of those.
This is Lori Hammond. I know that Transpo has installed plexiglass doors that protect the drivers. Has there been any thought of adding something like that to the trolley?
Sure. So Transpo has the challenge that we do not, which is they are not able to do rear boarding across the entire fleet. So they have to maintain that front door, and clients have to come in through the front door of the vehicle because they do have some older Gillig buses that the only way to open the back door is for someone to touch it on the inside. And so that makes it prohibitive to really allow rear door boarding. I keep getting that. Additionally, our ramp to our vehicle is at our rear door, whereas most of Transpo's ramps are at their front door. So again, this means that they have to maintain that front door. We do not, and so we do not have clients going by our drivers. We have provided all of the drivers with masks, and then if they're uncomfortable with the mask because of, say, a health condition or something like that, and not able to use the mask, we have also provided them with face shields. And then we are looking at I would say a longer term, a more permanent driver door, which would be less of the makeshift plexiglass kind of solution and much more of an aftermarket product that adheres and kind of is built into the vehicle for both driver safety and related to COVID-19 and other illnesses, that it could provide some additional protection on both of those items. That is a more expensive solution than the plexiglass, but our solution right now to just limiting that contact is really the driver area is blocked off from riders and they're not entering that front door. So that's kind of our solution, as well as then looking at the longer term fix to kind of the protective barrier.
This is Mayor Rod. I have a question.
Yes.
One, how are we handling the sanitizing the stops, benches, and in those areas? Is any of that being done? Related
to shelters, that would be the only. We
Yes.
have about 10. We have about 14 shelters, and at the rest of the stops, we do not have seating that we have provided. I don't know that we have been doing environmental cleanings of outdoor benches at this time, as they are outdoors and the shelters are fully open air. So we haven't done that. And I have not seen that as a standard practice across the industry, but we'd be happy to look into that.
Didn't know if it was necessary. Obviously, this infection is
Sure.
kind of mutates a little bit, and I know that some folk who sit or wait, they wait a while, and I'm sure that and who knows, maybe it isn't a direct issue, but
no, I mean, it's a good question, and we can look into it. It hasn't been something that's risen to our attention at this point because, like I said, it isn't necessarily a standard, but we would be happy to look into it.
Well, maybe some of the stops that have a pretty high frequency or have have a lot of riders that enter or exit at that stop.
Yeah, I think the transfer center would be a primary location where you have the 3 shelters there, where you have at least half-hourly activity. I think that would be probably the highest concern.
And one other question: have you had any conflicts with people not wanting to wear a mask?
We have not received any reports of that. I know that I gave a directive to our contracted vendor that we are to have signage that encourages, that says that masks are required, and that we will. I thought it was our personal responsibility is if we were going to say that masks are required, that we would have an opportunity to provide free masks, and so that's why we purchased the reusable masks, because not all of our clients are of, have the opportunity to purchase masks, and so we are going to be doing that. We have 4,000. I did say though to our contracted vendor that to be cautious with potential conflicts, and they're aware of situations that have happened nationally and locally with folks who have attempted to confront folks who are not wearing masks, who have been either punched or spit on. In some cases, at a Dollar General, an individual was shot and killed as well as then in the public transit industry, there have been some very ugly situations which involve police being called on individuals and that person being drugged off of a bus. The challenge here is there are a number of very valid exemptions to any face mask ordinance, and it's difficult for a driver to be able to determine whether or not that person meets that exemption. So does that person have a respiratory issue? Do they have asthma? Are they autistic and are uncomfortable wearing the mask? There are a number of those valid kind of exemptions to an ordinance. And so it's difficult for drivers to police. And so we have not experienced anything to date thus far. But I'll make you aware if we have any of those situations.
Great, thanks. Just wanted to know. And
Yep.
one other question, and I'm not quite sure if this is a little off subject, but I had a request that would be, and it would be on County Road 45. So I'm not quite sure how to make that request.
Yeah, if you would like to email me the details, we can gladly take a look and let you know if that fits kind of within our operational window, if that's an easy modification to make, or what we'd have to do to make that modification, or we would generally just kind of evaluate what we could or couldn't do.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. Ryan?
All right, so NDOT last week announced that the Community Crossings grant is postponed. It won't happen in July. They will be reevaluating funding sources in September, so there's potential this call just gets pushed back until then. As we receive more information, we'll keep you updated on this round for the Community Crossings grant. Before I go on, does anybody have any questions?
Ryan, real quick, can you kind of go over the normal types of projects that are funded with community crossings, and kind of how it differs from maybe the federal program? I know the call is on hold until September, but just to give everyone kind of information on the types of projects that community crossings typically funds.
Sure. The program does target preventative maintenance to your roadways and basically bringing up poor roadways to a better stance. So it's a wide range from crack sealing to some mill and fill with an overlay. The larger the project gets, the I don't want to say the least likely it would be, but road reconstructions don't typically get awarded. Neither do roundabouts, though I have seen some. However, as I said, the point that they emphasize for this grant is a preventative type maintenance to help your network from deteriorating and making it last longer, basically.
Yeah, and so the primary work type is the road work, and then when you're choosing that road corridor, you can then do kind of the accompanying sidewalks and curb ramps and those items. But it has to be a road-based project. It can't, say, be a standalone sidewalk or bike trail. It has to be a roadway that you're then redoing the pavement in some way. And then when you're doing that, you can kind of do the associated facilities with it.
Is there a traffic count or usage measure that is used for qualifying for these roads?
They ask for it, but volumes are important. However, let's say if you have a plan to resurface a subdivision and volumes there are just local homeowners, they're looking at the overall rather than utilizing the AADT as really a benchmark. Again, being that these are This grant is looking at your entire network, and NDOT just wants to see the network itself overall grow. So unlike the larger federal calls, your drivers per day isn't as valued on this one. Anything else? Okay. So there is a open call right now. It's the Railroad Grade Crossing Fund Grant Program. It closes July 31st, and the application is through NDOT's website. This call is a reimbursement grant, and it's some of the items that you can apply for are median barriers at gates, pavement markings to include stop bars, signage including stop signs, some illumination, and at a 50% match, locally sponsored installation of lights and gates at the grade crossing. So again, this closes July 31st. If you're interested or want more information, please feel free to reach out to me.
Next would be Leah.
All right, there might be an audio connection issue, so I'll go ahead and take these.
I got it. I was
okay. There
I
we
was
go.
double muted.
All right.
I have an update on electric vehicle funding infrastructure opportunity through IDEM. And though IDEM has released this solicitation, there is this is private money from a settlement, and so this funding opportunity will go forward. There's a deadline for the end of September, but basically what MACOG's involvement is coordinating with local governments and other public entities like libraries or the airport to identify good locations for charging infrastructure in our communities, downtown areas that'll serve sort of a destination charging purpose there. So if anyone's interested and hasn't already been talking to me about this, let me know. Currently, I'm working with Goshen, Plymouth, Elkhart, South Bend, and I believe Mishawaka on these sites. Additionally, we do have a survey that's out that was released in the staff notes. So if you have interest in infrastructure, go ahead and fill that out, and we'll connect on that. There are also a couple webinars that were in the MACOG Gazette that was just released yesterday. So if you want to learn more, there's a recorded webinar from yesterday and a webinar on Thursday with IDEM with more information. Next slide. At the end of this month, we are partnering with Indiana APA on the land use seminar related to solar energy. And this is the second in a series, but this one focuses on larger ground-mounted solar projects, which is going to be of interest to a number of you. So it'll focus on benefits of pollinator-friendly solar and include an opportunity to tour some pilot projects at Ancilla College, as well as opportunity to comment on a model ordinance for solar for the state of Indiana. So that should be a pretty good opportunity. We're hoping that moves forward in person, but stay tuned on that. If you'd like to register, feel free to reach out to me or look for the MACOG Gazette, which has the link. And another event to share, I won't give details for now. This is planned for the end of October, but the sustainability conference that takes place every other year in our region is currently planned for South Bend at the Century Center. If you'd like to register, let me know. That information has been sent around, but I'd be happy to reshare that with you as well if you'd like to register. Again, we're kind of waiting to see how things go before we determine if a hybrid virtual option will be available or if we'll be moving to all virtual for this conference. Additionally, just another reminder related to the air quality action season. We currently it's an air quality action day today, and we've had a number of them over the last weeks. So if you are not receiving those alerts and would like to do so, please let me know and I'll get you on the list. Otherwise, you can go to cleanairmichiana.org to receive that information and sign up. So I don't know, James, if you had anything to add to that, but happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, no, I think you covered it well. There have been throughout this month a number of air quality action days. We have been kind of sending out those alerts and different things that you can do to voluntarily reduce your emissions. And I know that the media outlets have been informing folks of that as well. So just kind of continue to monitor that. And if you're not on those distribution lists, feel free to sign up. I know you can find that information on our website.
Okay.
Those are all the staff updates that we have today. I know that probably Joyce Newland with Federal Highway will want to cover one thing under either privilege of the floor or public comment.
Hello.
Okay.
Oh,
You're good, Joyce.
Go ahead.
okay. Hi, this is Joyce. We, as you know, we conducted the MACOG certification review last month, and it was we thought it was a very successful review. It was challenging because we did it, virtually with some of the sessions and usually the public listening session, but the MACOG staff was well prepared, and our federal review team was really blown away with everything. And we will not have any corrective actions, but we will report out later in October, most likely, our recommendations or any type of findings. So, but yeah, thank you very much for everyone who participated.
Yeah. Thank you, Joyce, and the entire federal review team. I know it was definitely something new because I think it was the first virtual certification review that you all have gotten the opportunity to complete. So thank you for kind of working through that with us, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for all your assistance too. I mean, with the public notices and the comment forms and everything. So thank you.
Okay.
Any public comments?
We did have one public comment that we received after last month's meeting. We've already responded to it, but just for posterity's sake, for having it on the record, we had received a public comment that was questioning that asked how much CARES Act funding was provided to NICTID or the South Shore Line, and that was across two different funding programs, so it was two different votes. It was the South Bend urban area provided NICTID with $11,019,856 in CARES funding, which is the essentially the Corona COVID-19 relief funding. And then there was a question about whether that was different or separate than the president had recently tweeted about $100 million that was being provided to NICTID. And the question was if that was separate or different funding, if that was maybe for the West Lakes extension. And that $100 million that President Trump had talked about was for the West Lakes project, and it was essentially in advance on their $355 million grant that is coming from the Capital Improvement Grant Fund. So we were able to provide that information to the individual who provided the public comment, but we did receive that public comment, and just I wanted to have it on the record that we had received it, responded to it, and since there isn't a public really opportunity to talk during the meeting, since we asked for those questions in advance, wanted to make sure that it was recorded and noted in our minutes. We have not received any other public comments since that one.
Very good. Any other business to come? If not, the chair would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Mayor Center, so moved.
Mayor Wood,
Bill
second.
Jenkins, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And just for all those that weren't here in person, we talked about this a little bit in advance of the meeting. For August, we'll probably plan to do the same thing where we will have both the in-person option and a virtual option. The ultimate question will be whether or not on the virtual, if you'll be counted in quorum, because the governor's executive order only goes